Hello and welcome back to Let's Talk God. It's been amazing having you on this long journey, and we still have a long way to go. But it's a blessing that you could walk with us on this journey. We've learned so much in this episode that was shot so far, from our amazing guests to the one-on-one conversation and the questions, of course, from you guys. It's been so impactful. And now we're officially in the month of December. You've made it thus far, but only by the grace of God. God brought you here today. So if there's anything that you think you do not have the right to give thanks over, it is the fact that you're still healthy, you're alive, and you're in this month of December. Many people didn't make it, not because of God doesn't love them more or God didn't love them as much as you, but God saw it fit that you need to be here today, and this for a reason. Not for your purpose, but for His purpose. So that's something to be grateful about. That's something to give thanks about. But we're not going to go into gratitude and thanks now. That's another topic for another day. So we're going to focus on something we're all familiar with, and it's called the Roadside Mechanic. Yes, you heard me, the Roadside Mechanic. Personally, myself, I've had so many experiences with Roadside Mechanic, and it wasn't a pleasant one. And I'm sure all of you guys have your stories as well. But first thing I have to look at, and you also have to look at, is what does your insurance cover? Now, when you buy a car, you have an insurance scheme, you have an insurance system. My question to you is, what does your insurance cover? Many of us purchase a car, even a home, but let's go with the car for the argument's sake. We purchase a car, and then some of us get a full package cover, some of us get a third-party cover. The question is, what cover do you have? The third party only covers you for so little amount of damages. The full package, the fully comprehensive coverage for everything, fire, theft, whatever it is, that's what it covers you for. But now there's another kind of insurance, which is our handle it when it gets there. Our handle it as it comes. So it seems convenient, it seems cheaper, but that's a problem. Because with that, when things happen, you might not have the resources at that time to look after it. As a result, you now end up going to the roadside, which is why we're calling it Roadside Mechanic. I'll bring this back and we'll relate this as we go along. I'll tell you a personal story of my own as we go ahead. So now, in the terms of Roadside Mechanic, when I moved to Nigeria not too long ago, I had a car. Now, this car was perfectly fine. I felt, you know what, I don't need insurance. Coming from UK, you have to buy insurance when you get your car. It's illegal to drive without insurance. But when I moved to Nigeria, I realized, okay, it comes as a package. There's a comprehensive insurance that comes when you register your car. I said, okay, that's fine. It wasn't that expensive. Now, what I learned so quickly was that insurance doesn't count for anything. It was just a statement on my car log. So eventually, inevitably, my car had a problem. So I gave it to a driver to take it to the mechanics for me so they can sort it out. I wasn't around in the country at that time. By the time I came back, the car was much worse off than when I left it. And I asked what happened. Didn't you take it to the mechanic? We had an insurance system. And lo and behold, it was taken to the Roadside Mechanic. Now, this car is a Mercedes. Now, we all know Mercedes is very cumbersome. It's very intricate to work with. This car now was damaged further beyond repair, to the point where the Roadside Mechanic was working on something he does not understand. But in the aspect of trying to say, I can do it, they tampered with so many things and the car was never the same. Eventually, I had to get rid of the car. This is what we're doing. We have been created by God Himself. Our DNA down to our atoms and our nucleus has been created by God. He knows you down to the littlest atom in your body. He knows you. But the problem now is when we have a situation, rather than us going back to our insurance system, which is the Creator Himself, we go to the Roadside Mechanic. And who are these roadside mechanics? We go to friends. We go to counselors. Most of us even ask that, do you know or do you have anyone I can speak to, even if it's a shrink, as we know them, or a therapist? And this is a Roadside Mechanic. The reason I confirm this as a Roadside Mechanic is that they do not know anything about you because they are not the Creator. They don't know anything about you. So going there, you end up believing, okay, this is fine. I can trust them more. And this is the problem that we always fall into. We tend to put God as a final option. We put Him all the way in the back burner. Instantly, when something happens, the first one we say, okay, let me call my friend, let me call my contact, let me call my connect. But God is always the last option, and that should be your first option. So the process of going through all this, the process of going through all these communication is that you come out worse off than you went in. The therapist is only interested in your resources, is only interested in your finances, because you have to pay for the time. I'm sure they charge by the hour. So whatever problem you're going through, the first thing they'll ask you is, tell me about your childhood. So they're trying to get information from you that their senses cannot fathom. You're basically telling them what the problem is. They will nod and take notes. Eventually, they'll tell you, okay, this is the stem of your problem, and you find out it never fixes anything. Matter of fact, for the time being, you feel like you're making progress. You feel like you're okay. But give it a month, you find out you've gone into a deeper depressive state than when you went in. As a result, coming out more damaged than you went in. Because the advice they gave you, the information they gave you, you processed it, but it still quite didn't work because your DNA is completely different. As billions as we are on this earth, our fingerprints, there's none that's matched to it. It's a unique fingerprint. So at this point, we now try and find the next plan. Who else can I talk to sort out the problem that the therapist has already caused again? So we keep on digging deeper and deeper and deeper into problem, taking ourselves to a roadside mechanic that does not understand the systems in which God has created in you. I've seen this happen so many times. People destroyed by even friends, by even family. Advice coming from a place of selfishness rather than selflessness. This is a roadside mechanic that we've been working on and we've been destroying ourselves with. So why don't you come to God immediately? Why don't you say, Father, you know what, I have this problem. You're the one that created him, and this was not created in my DNA. This was never the plan to begin with. For you say your plan for me is good. Your plan is to prosper me. That's what your plan is. But Father, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that. There's a problem in this situation. There's a problem in my situation. There's a problem in my mechanism. Father, I need you to fix it. I am covered under your insurance. We need to stop talking to God as he's a creation or a creator that we can never achieve to talk to or to reach. He's your Father first. Speak to him. Communicate to him. He longs for communication. He longs for your presence. But we tend to miss it because we keep him last. So by the time we get back to him, we're either too damaged to believe he will hear us, or worse, some of us get to a suicidal state before we can even reach him based on the roadside mechanics we've been to. So this is something that we really need to take into our heart. Put God first. That's your insurance scheme. That's your full comprehensive insurance. There's nothing and there's no problem you go through that he hasn't seen or pre-understood in order to solve it. So let's go away from the gimmicks. Let's go away from social media. Let's go away from, matter of fact, social media has so many motivational speakers now, you don't even need to go to a shrink anymore. Just turn on your social media platform and you see over 100 motivational speakers telling you what you should and should not do. But when you look deeper, when that camera turns off, you find that they have more problems than you actually do. So don't go to a broken system to fix your broken system. It will never work. Go to the perfect God. Go to the perfect creation. And he will first tell you what you need to change. And one thing I always find amazing is that every time I have a problem and I speak to God, I pray, I worship, keyword worship, I worship in his presence. I always find out that first thing he does, he tells me where I went wrong, not where other people went wrong. Because the God that you serve, the God that created you, will never tell you other people's problem. He will tell you your problem first, because he's interested in you getting fixed first, and then you can help fix others. So when you pray and you hear in your spirit that this is where you went wrong, don't say, no, this is not what I'm asking you for. Because you cannot pour from an empty glass and you cannot see clearly from a broken mirror. He will tell you about you first. So if we look at the book of Matthew 11:28, it clearly says that those that are weary, come to me. Come to me. If you're tired, if you're weary, come to me and I will give you rest. I will give you rest. So why are we going other places for rest? Why are we going to other people to get rest when he says, come to me, come back to me? I created you. I know everything about you and your hair is numbered. When you have a problem, I know. But just come back to me. Because this problem should not be there. It is just a temporary storm. But the problem is that when we see a rainstorm building, we now run towards it rather than run towards the Father. And then it becomes a fully blown storm. So what I want to say to you today, as this Christmas period is coming up, as the December period is coming up, there's so many challenges that comes up at this period of time, as we know the Ember month to be. So many challenges, so many needs, so many requests. People come to you for resources, people come to you for help. And a lot of the time you do not have the capacity to give that help, and it puts you in a state where you have to do things that are unfathomable to be able to help people out. But God said, come to me. Come to me. He's your source. Come to him. Don't go to other people. Come straight to him. Let him know, you know what? I don't need anyone else. Leave me at the altar of my Father. Leave me at the altar of my Father. And once God knows he can trust you, That's when things move. Yes, you can trust God, but can He trust you? Go back to Him. Stop all this roadside mechanic. They will never fix you. They will destroy you. And they will leave you to your own devices. Have you ever been to a roadside mechanic and they destroyed your car and they gave you an insurance scheme? So, okay, come back, I'll fix it. That never happens. They'll tell you, oh God, sorry, I've done all I can do. Maybe you need to take it to this place, you need to take it to that place. But God will never say that to you. God will say, keep coming back to me. Stay in my presence. I will fix you. I will fix it. So this period, I want us to have something in our hearts. I want us to go back to that altar of God. Go back to that altar where we say, you know what, Father, is you or nothing. I'm done with the roadside mechanics. I'm done with the therapist. I'm done with the friends. I'm done with all these people. I just want you. And watch your life get changed. Watch your life get turned around. And you now see that person that God has designed you to be. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you are blessed. It's been a blessing to have you as usual. And thank you for staying tuned with us consistently. You are a blessing to us. Remember, you can always catch us every Tuesday, 6 p.m. on the dot. Don't be late, 6 p.m. on the dot on www.tostvnetwork.com. Also on our social media handle @TOSTV Network. And my personal handle, Mr. Okonkwo. Thank you so much and God bless you.